Hi! Tonight I want to talk to you and me about vampires. My first memory of vampires was carnival in elementary school.
I got a cave and fangs.
So you're gonna suck some blood?
Blood? Yuck.
I was never good with blood, even the word makes me all ugh. My next notable contact with vampires was when I watched Interview with the Vampire. Vampires rock! So which one do you like better? That's a tough one. Lestat rocks way more than Emo Louis, but Brad Pitt is way hotter than Tom Cruise. However, I forgot about all that when I was in the US and found this book in the library. A vampire book, cool. But what does Lestat mean? I was really puzzled by the title. Does it mean something like victim or buddy or knight? Do you know? Yes, I do. Please tell me, none of the native speakers can give me an answer? Just start reading. I am the vampire Lestat. Still makes no sense. Is he a vampire god? More like a vampire rock star. Think back to Interview with the Vampire. Lestat, of course! It's his name! It took me quite a while to finish that book, since I was still learning English and it was not easy to understand Enri's elaborate and flowery writing style. A group of acrobats waited to go on at the intermezzo. A crowd of jesters in red tights, caps and jagged collars studded with little gold bells. Eh? But I tried again a couple of years later when I was flying back from Korea. I need something to read for the long flight back. How about Blood and Gold? I'm not so good with blood and I like silver better than gold. Trust me, you'll love this book. If you say so. I nearly finished the book during the flight because I couldn't put it down. It's about Marius, who becomes Lestat's mentor for a while. In the movie Queen of the Damned, he was his maker. He was actually Amon's maker, and that was a crappy movie anyway. They messed up all the characters. Well, it was a big budget project with a lot of special effects that promoted modern day gothic and vampire culture. Yeah, whatever, but they got it all wrong. The fascination with Marius, or vampires in general, is that they have experienced so much history firsthand. I would have loved to have met Jesus and Shakespeare and Oscar Wilde and Jack Kerouac. They had so much time to learn and study. I would love to travel the world and learn every language there is. They are really strong and powerful. A shoulder to lean on. Beautiful and seductive. I want them to want me. Intellectual and reckless. Finally, someone with my qualities. And, of course, they are freaking rich. That's not bad either. But they also have to drink blood, the essence of life, to sustain themselves. Yuck, blood. You could pretend it's red wine. It worked for Jesus, but I don't like red wine either. However, vampires weren't always rock stars. Legends date back at least 4,000 years. They were real scary monsters back then. It is interesting that many of these early vampire figures are either genderless or a seductive and dreadful female who controls and exploits man and family. That's of course man's fear of powerful and dominant women. In 1897, the first aristocratic vampire was born. Dracula! Well, first there was Lord Byron. Yeah, but Dracula made vampires famous in literature. Poor Polidori, even you neglect him. Anyway, Dracula was, as some of you might know, based on Vlad Tepes, a cruel ruler of the Walachei in the early 1400s. He liked to impale people on stakes. Ugh. In the novel, the Count is described as this withered, old, ugly man. More like Max Schreck in Nosferatu than Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Finally, in 1974, Anne Rice took vampires to the next level with Interview with the Vampire, giving them a conscience and a range of emotions. And, of course, good looks. This spawned a lot of sappy romance novels. A human female protagonist bedazzled by this slightly emo but rich and gentlemanly vampire. Most of these books are pretty trashy. Indeed, and that includes, in my opinion, even though I run the risk here of making enemies, the Twilight Saga. It was predictable and not very skillfully written. But I get why a lot of teenage girls have the hots for Edward. However, there's one vampire series I really love. The Southern Vampire Mysteries by Charlene Harris. You also might know it from the HBO show True Blood. These books are funny and witty and exciting and dramatic and mysterious and sometimes even romantic. Very recommendable. But I'm not so sure about the show, probably because I love the books so much. When I was writing my master thesis about vampires, I wanted to go beyond just writing. I'm gonna make a documentary about vampires. So I went to some vampire balls and stuff. But with my master thesis and the Bed Lab movie, I had too much on my plate already. So the documentary never came to be. However, I still have some footage that has never been shown before. I just interviewed Terry Pratchett! And so, to conclude this video, specially just for you, I'm gonna show you, in a world premiere, what Terry Pratchett, the father of the fantastic Discworld novels, has to say about vampires.
Vampires have got such style, and vampires, of course, are totally cool. I have to say that this image has been created entirely by the cinema, because to the best of my knowledge, vampires were monsters.
Do you think vampires exist?
I think that people who think they are vampires exist.
Yeah.
Beyond that, no, I don't think so.
Would you like to be a vampire?
No, not really. I like to see the sunrise.
You know Dracula, right? Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and their vampires can walk a day.
Yes. Nearly everything we think we know about vampires has been created by the movies.
Yeah.
But classically, the vampire and the werewolf were barely distinguished one from the other, and were monsters. Not the two little bites in the neck.
Yeah.
We are talking tearing lumps out of the throat. They were not nice. But vampires are thrilling, but they're also under control. If we really thought vampires really existed, we wouldn't be dancing like this.
Yeah. Well, I guess my actual question is, would you like to live forever? Besides through your books.
Not forever, but 500 years I think would be okay. I would quite like to be 20 again, but with this brain.
Okay, yeah.
And presumably that checkbook.
Oh, and exactly, yes.
I'm a vampire, but I don't want to suck your blood.